Good day, internet people.
Hello.
Hello. It's Mr. Phil here, and I've got a deck profile for you today. It's my Royal Paladin deck, circa BT01 G. Did that in the wrong order? And yeah, so without further ado, let's show you what my deck consists of. Starter is the trial deck starter, Shining Knight Milius.
It consists of grossness.
Yeah. Shining Knight Milius, he's basically on GB1, put him into the soul, counterblast 1, search for a grade 2 and call it to the rear guard and shuffle your deck. Kind of nice. It's almost like a Royal Paladin Convo, but it's grade 2 instead of grade 1. So, you know, pretty cool. It makes you think maybe they could bring Convo back for Kagero as essentially just a GB1 instead of a use whenever. And that wouldn't then be considered OP. Onto the trigger lineup. We're going to start with 4 critical triggers. Yes, that's right, 4. Nothing special going on there. 4 draw triggers. The trial deck ones, obviously, because you got the skill to put it into the soul as well and gain plus 3k. And you got 2 very nice hollow margles there. Sturdy card, been around since the beginning. We've got 4 heal triggers, enough said. And 4 of the stand trigger from G-BT01. Her skill is on Generation Break 1. When she's placed, choose up to 2 units, give those units plus 3k until the end of turn. If you do, return this unit to your deck and shuffle your deck. So you get your stand trigger back for a future drive check. And yeah, so obviously when you play cards like this down and you put them back in the deck, you do take a bit of a gamble because you're knocking 10k shield out of your hand for the short term. So sometimes it is better to just keep it in hand and throw it down as a shield. But if you want to have a final push and you just want to hit them hard, you can't go wrong with an extra 6k. So that's that. Onto the grade 1 lineup. 4 of the BT01 Perfect Guard Holy Knight Guardian. This is the new type of Perfect Guard, you've probably seen these already. But basically they can now only guard the Vanguard alone, not the rear guards. But the payoff is that when you use one, if there's already one of these in the drop zone, you unflip a damage when you use it. Which actually can be quite useful. I personally think that's worth the payoff of not being able to guard a rear guard with it. Especially particularly in this deck, where filling your rear guard, at least on the front row with grade 2s, it's not exactly difficult to do with this deck. To be honest, it's more boosters you're going to have trouble getting hold of. I run 3 of this chap. This is Laurel Knight Sisilus. He basically lets you search for an Altmile if you've already got a grade 3 in hand. It can even be an Altmile in hand, and you just want to search out another one. The cost is you just play him down, reveal a grade 3, search for the Altmile, put it into your hand, and then drop something else from your hand into the drop zone. So you can't go too far wrong with this guy. Plus his second ability, you can drop him for stride without having to drop a grade 2 with it. It counts as a grade 3. So that's always a very useful card to have in hand. And sometimes you might choose to drop this instead of a grade 3 if you want to play a grade 3 to the field and do a bit of damage. So always worth running a few of those. I run 3 Knight of Shield Bash. He's a 7k grade 1, nice little booster, and he's got the extra ability that when he attacks a Vanguard he gets plus 2k until the end of that battle. So if your opponent's on grade 2, you just want to get in a hit early. Generally that will work from the rear guard and you'll be able to hit a grade 2. So that's why I run that guy, just to do a little bit of extra early damage. And then I run 4 of the 8k Lunar Crescent Knight Phylax. Pretty standard, your little Sage Marin. Not much to say. And then I have 1 Lake Maiden Lien. To be honest, I'd probably run it at 2, but for some reason I've looked around everywhere and I can't find any more of these. I appear to only have 1 in the entire house. Not entirely sure how that happened, but Anyway, here she is, so I run her, and she's just a hand fixer, really. If you're in a desperate situation, you like drop something crap and hope you pull what you need. And if you ride her first turn, she's on your Vanguard. Even if you go first, you can still tap, drop and draw, and hopefully put yourself in a stronger position going into the next turn. Grade 2s. I run 2 of this chap here, Transmigration Knight Braid, GB1 plus 3k when he attacks. Attacks a Vanguard, obviously. Now it's not just when it attacks generally. It has to be at the Vanguard. So yeah, standard-ish kind of card. You probably find these in every deck. I only run it at 2 because there is a better alternative for Royal Paladin now. Next up, we run 4 of this chap, Knight of Twin Sword. He's the kind of trial deck's boss, grade 2, as it were, hence the reason you get a hollow one in each trial deck. Generation Break 1. Counterblast 1 when this unit attacks a Vanguard. If this unit is boosted, you may pay the cost. If you do, search your deck for up to 1 grade 2 card not named Knight of Twin Sword, call it to rearguard, and shuffle your deck. So you basically use that to maximise attacks. So say you had one of those up there, one of those there. You got a booster behind this one. Say there's a booster behind there as well. You'd attack with that unboosted, but then you'd attack with this one with the boost, search out another card. Obviously it wouldn't be him, it'd be something else, but you then call it to that rear guard there, and then you can swing with that one with the boost, and you do a little bit extra damage. It's the quantity of attacks that you want to go for with this deck, really. It's the not really unexpected, because it's obviously going to happen, but yeah, that's your kind of goal. So running this guy at 4 is a bit of a no-brainer. The only real issue is that if you do it quite a lot, you can then find yourself in a situation where you attack with this guy boosted, you search your deck, and the only grade like 2s left in the deck, oh, it's all the same guy, so I can't superior call it. Which tends to happen, but by that point you've probably attacked quite a lot anyway, so deal with it. And to top the grade 2 lineup off, we've got this double R card from BT01, Knight of Fragment. I say this guy's better than the 12k attacker because he's got the Generation Break 1 skill. Bit of dirt on there. During your turn, if you have 2 or more grade 2 rearguards, this unit gets plus 2000. And auto, when this unit's attack hits a Vanguard, soul charge 1, choose a card from your damage zone and turn it face up. So again, it's another damage on flipper, and it just hits for 11k. And that plus 2k, it doesn't have to attack a Vanguard for that one. It's just if you have 2 or more grade 2 rear guards, including himself, because it doesn't say other. So you basically, if you got that guy there, you can attack for 11, and if any of those hit a Vanguard, you soul charge 1, and you unflip a damage. What I will say that I've noticed, my soul does get quite large using this guy, and I don't seem to have much in the way of cards that soul blast. So if anyone's got any suggestions there of what to run, that might be worth it. I've considered the chap who's obviously 5k when you play him down, soul blast 2 to draw a card. But having a 5k in there as a grade 1, it just seems really risky for me for an... You know, you'll get an early rush if you have to ride the guy. And knowing my luck, I probably will. Right, the grade 3 lineup. Let's start with this guy. He's a common from BT01. Militaristic Knight Marianus. There is actually a single rare grade 3 from the set as well, but I actually prefer this one. He's got the skill Generation Break 1, Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1 when it attacks a Vanguard. Basically search for a grade 2, call it to rearguard and shuffle your deck. So again, that gives you your extra attack. And it's very cheap, so that uses the soul. And it only counts as a Counterblast to 1, so pretty much no cost at all on this with all the unflipping you've got. And his second skill was when he's placed on the Vanguard circle, you can Soul Blast 1, call up to 1 card from your hand, call it to rearguard, and choose one of your units and give it plus 5000 until the end of turn. So he gets placed down and you just basically give something plus 5k. Even if there's nothing on the field at the time you place him, it's not a lost 5k because you can just as part of the skill, cool the unit down and then give it plus 5k. So even if your opponent's retired your entire field before you play him, the skill still works, which is a very nice little thing to have. Finally, for the grade 3s, and a bit of a no-brainer, it's Altmile. He's the trial deck boss card here. Obviously he's got 2 skills. The Generation Break 2 skill is during your turn, all the units in your front row get power plus 5,000, which is a quite nice thing to do. If you decide not to stride anymore, you're just getting nice numbers. And the second skill is Counterblast 1. When your G unit strides, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose up to 2 cards from your hand and call them to separate rearguard. Choose up to 2 of your units, and those units get plus 5,000 until the end of turn. So that's pretty fantastic, because it lets you play some cards down, and it obviously has that plus 5k for 2 units as well. Now, what you will notice is, because it doesn't say other units, if you so wish, you can even give plus 5k to this guy, which means, well, it wouldn't be this guy, it'd be your stride unit, but that basically means that even without a boost, your stride unit is probably going to be swinging for 31k minimum. If it's an Atmos, 41k. If it's a certain guy I'm going to get to in a bit, you could be closing in on 50k. So yeah, he's a pretty nice card. Certainly very good for a trial deck card. A lot of people seem to be running this guy with Thingsaver, I believe. But as for me, I haven't got any Thingsaver and I'm not about to start buying them, so yeah, that's why I run this. Plus, it's a common, dirt cheap. You can build a decent deck on a budget now. Not that this was on a budget when you see what I've got in a minute. But, okay, you've got 4 of the strides from the trial deck. This is Gablade, Shrouded Divine Knight, Gablade, in fact. He's basically got the ability that when he hits a Vanguard, search deck for a grade 2 or greater, call it to rearguard, and shuffle your deck. So again, you'll attack with at least one of your rearguards first, probably. And then when this guy attacks, if your opponent doesn't guard it, or you get through the guard, you obviously call something else to that space, and you get another attack out of it. Because, let's face it, the more times you attack, the more times they have to guard, and if they run out of cards to guard with, sucks to be them. And finally, we have got 4 pieces of Holy Dragon, Saint Blow Dragon. It's another dragon from our friends at Bushy Road. This guy is pretty nuts, actually. Basically, he's an activated ability. Choose a face-down card with the same name, turn it face-up in your G-zone. And this unit gets plus 3k for each of your rearguards until the end of turn. And if the number of face-up cards in your G-zone is 2 or more, so obviously you'd use this as you'd ride Gablade first before you went into this guy. Yeah, if the number of face-up cards in your G-zone is 2 or more, and the number of rearguards you have is 2 or more, this unit gets crit plus 1 till the end of turn. So if you've got a full field, this guy basically, for kind of just going from that to that in your G-zone, you get plus 15,000 power and a crit. He was already going to swing for 26, so you can't really sniff at that. Obviously you're only going to use it twice in a game maximum, because at the moment there's no way to kind of reflip these down. Not in Royal Paladin at least. But yeah, it's a pretty brutal effect, that. And he's basically the only real money card in this deck. The only thing that's going to cost any real money. I suppose the next thing down would be the Holy Knight Guardian, or whatever it's called. The Perfect Guard. And pardon me. And yeah, so it's worth mentioning that because the wording on this card does say that the number of face-up cards in your G-zone is 2 or more, that doesn't count as the same as GB2, so if he's on the Vanguard circle and you've only got 1 up in your G-zone face-up, that will not count for his second ability. That is literally just going to gain the plus 3 for each of your rearguards and nothing else. Which might be enough if they're on 5 damage somehow really early in the game and you just want to smack for numbers. But generally, yeah, you want to ride this guy as your second stride of the game, or maybe a later one if you want to kind of hit hard later. And yeah, pretty cool. And obviously we've got the nice playmat from the sneak peek with the same chap on him. So there you go, that's my Royal Paladin deck. We're just coming over 15 minutes, and I'll leave it there then. So I hope you enjoyed watching this. You'll probably see some games with me playing with these at some point, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.